Okay, so a very good day, dear students. I welcome you to my academy, AKS Commerce Academy. So, before I take you to the content of today's discussion, I would like to introduce my academy and myself. For those set of students who are regular visitor to my channel, for them it is not required, but those set of students who are new watching this video, for them I would like to introduce. So, I'm Ashwini Kumar Sinha. I have in totality 23 years of working experience in corporates and 5 years of teaching prior to I started working in corporate. So in totality, out of 23 years of working in corporate, 13 years I worked in education sector, wherein I had opportunity to interact with students, with parents, almost every corner of the country across India, Kashmir down south, Kanyakumari, or northeastern states till Maharashtra. I have interacted with almost a lakhs of students across India. So all my working in totality in education sector, roughly 18 years. Now post my working with corporate, I thought of starting up and be associated with academics. So I came up with AKS Commerce Academy, wherein I started teaching students on this wonderful medium called YouTube, wherein I could reach to the students, thousands of students across India who are watching the videos which I happen to upload and get benefited out of it. I have recorded for both class 12th as well as class 11th. 12th I recorded in Hindi, and in for class 11th I have recorded my lectures in English. Though shortly I'll coming up with 11th Hindi and 12th English as well. So we at AKS Commerce Academy, we have three important section or streams for which we provide tutoring. One is foundation for class 9th and 10th students, social science and English. Class 11th and 12th, we provide accountancy, business studies, and economics, and humanities for 11th and 12th, all the subjects. We have both model of teaching. One is online mode and offline mode. So students who are nearby can join our offline batches, and those students who are putting up far away or any corner of the country or even beyond as well, middle east, we have good number of CBSE schools and students from across India happens to take up their studies there, so they also can join in and take up the classes. I speak two languages, Hindi and English. Therefore, I have recorded my videos in both Hindi and English. My objective is that any corner of the country, if students are not comfortable in Hindi, they can take up classes in English, online batches, or even in offline batches. And those students who are comfortable in Hindi alone, for them there is Hindi exclusive as well as English batch, understand it. So anyway, the whole objective is to help the students any corner of the country, any language you prefer to study in, be it English or Hindi, any stream which I have mentioned a while ago. If you are interested in studying, we are there to help you. And very late, I started realizing the fact that many students are not very comfortable in studying in a batch format. They want exclusive attention all throughout. Therefore, I have come up with one student, one teacher model of teaching as well, wherein a student can join individual teacher online and take up the class. I teach accountancy. I also provide one teacher, one student assistance to the students who are willing to take up this format of study or preparation, right? Let's now go ahead and start the discussion for today. So I have in detail talked about cashbook, the elementary level of understanding I have given you about cashbook in my previous lecture. I believe all the students you would have gone through, and today I am going to carry on with the same, wherein I'll be touching upon two column cashbook, double column cashbook, what we call it. So students, this is on your screen. Before I take you to the details of it, I would like to show you how does a two column cashbook appear. Okay, so this is how it appears. So if I see here, there is, just understand the format, need not understand at this point of time the entries there, but understand the format, understand the sides, understand the balances, how it is made. So we have two sides here. One is debit side. This is our debit side. There is credit side. Okay. So debit side is meant for entering the receipts, because we are talking about cash book. Cash book is one of the subsidiary books, right? So any transaction which is cash nature will be recorded in cash book. Any transaction which is related to bank will be recorded in cash book in double column, right? So that is why this is the receipt side and this is payment side. So any receipts that are being made are going to be entered here. Any payments which are being made are going to be entered here. This is simple understanding. Okay. Now, there are two columns here. That is why we call it as double column cash book. One is cash book column and second one is bank column. Correspondingly, on the payment side also, see there are two columns, cash column and bank column. Okay, the purpose of these two columns are to record on the receipt side any cash is coming in the business or in the firm, it gets recorded in the cash side. Whereas any payment which is coming in the business via check and that gets deposited into bank in the firm's account, then it will be debited to cash book in the bank column. So transactions wherein bank is involved with respect to receiving or making the payment, it is going to be entered in bank column. Receipt side, if it happens to be receiving through bank, or payment side if it is payment through bank from our account. I hope it is clear. So there are two sides. We have seen debit and credit. There are two part to it. One is receipt part and other one is payment part. Now in the receipt part, we have date column, means date of transaction, particulars wherein we enter items which are on the debit side. We enter the items which are related to receipt of cash. All right, like sales done, cash is received, deposits made in the bank, cash so getting debited to bank, so it is entered in the bank. Then there is payment made through check, it is entered. Payment received from by check, it is entered in the bank column. Similarly, the payments which are made through check, it is entered on the credit side. So this is how we see that the payment side, which wherein bank is involved, gets recorded on the payment side of bank column. Whereas if there is a receipt where bank is involved, entries are made in the bank column of the cash book. I hope it is clear. Correspondingly, if it happens to be cash payment or cash receipts, entries are going to be recorded in the cash column, right? So this is an overview so far about two column cash book. We call it two column. Why? Because cash and back, both the columns are recorded in this book. So we call it as two column cash book. I hope it is clear. Now I'll take you a little down here. No, before that, there is one more column you must have seen. We call it as ledger folio. Okay, so this is ledger folio. This column is ledger folio. Here also we see ledger folio. Customarily, we require to put up the ledger page from where the entry is taken into this book. So it is the ledger means ledger account and folio means page. So ledger folio column precisely in cash book, wherein we happen to record transactions which are contra in nature. Though I'll explain you a little while later. Contra means the transaction where cash as means cash as well as bank both are involved. See here, cash and bank. In a transaction, if cash is also involved and bank is also involved, means there is deposit made by cash in to the bank account of the firm. So there is an impact on cash balance and there is impact on bank balance. So entries are made in the cash column as well as in the bank column. So it is called contra entry. I hope it is clear. I'll explain you little later on this in detail. Now there is an overview here. So the total here, we see here there is a total of debit side of cash book and bank column of the cash book, whereas there is total of credit side. This is how. Now what happens here? So if we see there is the receipt side, if it happens to be more than the credit side, if the receipt side is more than the credit side of a particular column, let's say cash column, then the balance will appear here. Is it clear? This is the balance, which is a balancing figure. This is balancing figure. Similarly, if the debit side bank column happens to be the higher than the total of credit side bank column, means payments are less in comparison to the receipts in bank, so there is a balance, right? So when there is a balance, if receipts are more and payments are less, the balance will appear here. Reverse is also true. When payments are more in bank, through bank, and receipts are less, then the balance will appear here. I hope it is clear. So this is an overview of your cash book, which gives you information about the cash in hand and cash at bank, so that you can assess your financial in terms of cash availability in your firm. I hope this is clear. But the question is how these entries are going to be passed. What are the norms related to this? This is the subject matter of our study today. Okay, we will see that. Let me take you down here. Now, treatment of discount allowed or received. Now, there may be a situation, we know that in cash book, there is no separate cash account is maintained, right? So cash book itself is journal as well as ledger. And the balance which it has, that base balance gets carried on in the balance sheet. So we understand this far. Now there is one more, journal proper. I hope we have discussed and I hope you remember that. So what is that journal proper? Where if out of any of the subsidiary books, if entry cannot be passed because the nature of the transaction does not fit into any of the subsidiary book, it will get recorded separately and that book is called journal proper. Now, there is a discount allowed or received. Now, when we are allowing discount, what is the entry that we pass when there is a discount that is allowed? So, discount allowed. Okay. Now, what could be the scenario? Let us say we sold goods to Ram. Sold goods to Ram. Let's say of rupees 10,000. Okay. Now he has to make the payment. So what is the entry we pass for receiving the payment? Cash account. If he is making payment in cash, cash account debit. Cash is coming in the business to Ram. This is the entry we pass, and there will be a narration, right? So if he gives us 10,000 rupees, we will pass this. But supposingly, if we are allowing him some discount for making an early payment, okay, so there will be entry a little different from this. What we will do is cash account debit, discount account debit to Ram. Now, cash account, let's say 1,000 rupees of discount is given to him. So we'll write here cash 9,000. Okay. 1,000 of discount will write here and 10,000 will write here. Now, what this entry tells you and what is the learning that you have here? So when we are seeing that cash is debited by 9,000, cash account is debited by 9,000 and there is a discount. So the entry which is related to cash will go to cash book. So what is the entry here? Cash account debit to Ram. So in our cash book, when we are preparing, or let us see here in the example, if you see there is cash book. So cash account, how it is to be entered here? Cash account debit side, we will write here, let's say to Ram. I'm overwriting it to Ram. Okay. So how, when I'm writing this to Ram, cash account, there will be amount 9,000 rupees, which is going to be entered. Is this clear? Now the question is, what about the 1,000 rupees which we have allowed as a discount? So this will go to our journal proper. So this entry, cash to Ram, will directly get entered in our cash book. So we will not be writing this in journal proper, but what we will do is we will write this instead of 10,000, we'll write 1,000 and this entry will not be there in ledger. Only this entry will not be there in journal proper. Only this entry will appear in journal proper as discount debit to Ram. I hope it is clear. And the cash will go directly in the cash book. So this is the entry which is related to discount. Now this we have allowed. There is a situation wherein we would have received as well. So if this be the case, what is the entry we pass when we are receiving discount? That means when we are making payment to somebody, then only there is a discount which we can receive. So the payment, let's say creditor to whom we are making payment. Okay. So creditor debit to cash and to discount. So when there is discount credited, this means that it is an income for us. I hope it is clear. When discount is debited, this debited here, this is an expense for us. So this understanding I believe you have now. Now creditor debit to discount means creditor to whom we have made payment, so he gets debited. Payment of, let's say, out of 10,000, 9,000 cash payment we have given him and 1,000 of discount he has allowed us. So this is how it appears. So what we will do here, let us see. Now 10,000 discount is 1,000, not 10,000, it is 1,000. Being, we'll write here narration. Fine. So that means creditor related transaction, creditor debit to cash, this will not go in journal proper. It will go to our cash book the way I have shown you in discount allowed case. It will not go to cash book. So creditor debit to cash. In the payment side, we will write here payment side credit by creditor how much? 9,000. This entry we will pass in cash book. But with regard to the entry which is to be passed in journal proper, because there is no specific subsidiary book meant for discount, therefore we will pass this entry in our journal proper as debit to discount. How much? 1,000. This is the entry for, this will go to journal proper. I hope it is clear. And this will go to cash debit, cash to Ram, or here in this case cash, and Ram will go to cash book. I hope this far is understood by you. There should not be any issue now. Now treatment of discount allowed or received when payment made or received through check. It is very similar. Instead of cash there is check and the check gets dishonored. Okay, so how we are going to treat this? We will understand it now. Now what it says, treatment of discount allowed and received. So discount allowed and received we have seen when the payment is made by check. So if supposingly we are making payment to somebody, and or here when payment made or received, so both the scenario, let's say received payment and made payment. Now when we received payment through check, so entry we pass bank account debit to debtor would have given us check, so debtor, let us say. Okay, now this is the for receiving the check. But when there is a discount, so entry we pass an expense for us. We are receiving payment from debtor, so there is a discount debit and to debtor. This is the entry we pass. Okay, so bank debit, discount debit to debtor. Let's say 10,000 rupees instead of 9,000 we received. Again, though 10,000 was due from him, but we received 9,000 and we have given him 1,000 rupees of discount. So in totality, debtor gets credited by 10,000. I hope this is clear. So bank debit, discount debit to debtor. Now the question is, the check which we have received here, bank for which the entry is made, it gets dishonored. Means the payment to from whom we received, we did not get the credit of, we did not receive the cash from the check. So what is the entry we need to pass? We need to reverse this. So debtor once again debit, which is 10,000 to discount and to bank. I hope this is clear. So discount was 1,000 and 9,000 was bank. Now this reversal is to be done in cash book. So what in the cash book, what we will do, bank debit to debtor, entry we will pass how much? 9,000. And when we have to reverse it, we need to pass the entry which is debtor debit to bank. So with how much? 9,000 rupees. And discount will go to journal proper. So this is the entry when we are receiving payment in check and the check did not get honored. I hope it is clear. Now, when the payment is made by check and the check gets dishonored. So we have made payment to somebody and the check did not get honored. So when we are making payment to somebody by check, entry we pass is creditor. Usually we make payment to creditor, so creditor debit to bank and to discount. Okay, so this discount is an income for us. Let's say 10,000 rupees, 1000 9,000 here and 1,000 will appear here. This is understood. This is the entry we pass, creditor debit to bank to discount. Now the payment that we the check that we made was not honored by our bank, maybe whatsoever be the reason. So we need to reverse this. So what is the entry we need to pass for reversing it? So we will debit bank, we will debit discount, and we will credit creditor. I hope this is clear. So this way we reverse it. So discount to creditor will go to journal, bank to creditor, this to this will go to cash book. I hope it is clear. So this is how we are going to enter it. Creditor debit to bank to discount, and then there is bank discount debit to creditor. So I hope now you must have understood both the concepts here. One, we have explained you this one where treatment of discount allowed and received you have understood through this example. And if it happens to be through check and check gets dishonored, whether if it is received and get dishonored, if it is paid and gets dishonored, both the scenario how the entry is to be made. Now I'll take you to the next page, next part of discussion to make you understand the format of our cash book. Okay, so cash book double column. So this is our double column. So here we write date. So date, then there is particular, then this is ledger folio, then this is cash, and this is bank. Okay, then there is again date, the other side, then particular, then there is ledger folio, cash, and bank. Clear? This side is debit side, this side is credit side. This side we call it as receipt side, and this side we call it as payment side. This much I believe is clear. Just for understanding sake, though I have shown you one complete format up there, but how it is drawn and how the headings are fed, I showed you through this part of discussion. Now let me take you to the next part wherein I'll explain you balancing. So how the balancing is to be done. Let us see. This is done similar way, the way we learn to balance a cash book single column. Similarly, we do it for dual column, double column as well. So I'll just quickly draw one cash book here. Okay. So let us say we have two columns, one, two columns here, and then here also two columns. Fine. This is the middle line. Now this is your cash book. So single column, how the balance is done and how it is done in case of a double column. Let us see. I'll take some imaginary figure here. So this is your cash. This is bank. Here also there is cash. This is bank. Okay. Now, so cash book starts with opening balance if it happens to be a continued business. So let us say if the financial year happens to be 1st April 2025 to 31st March 26. If this be the if this is our financial year. Okay. So how we are going to take this up? Okay. So here we see there is particular, particular, and date obviously will be written there. Now this is our financial year 1st April 25 to 31st. So this is a running business. Okay. So 31st March 25 there should be some balance. That balance gets brought in here. So how we are going to write? To balance brought down. Okay. So there will be some balance here. This is the opening balance. Fine. Now there may be a situation that bank may have credit balance as well. Okay. So there is an opening balance, cash balance, debit balance, and there may be possibility that there is a credit balance. Now during the year, transactions related to cash is entered in cash book. So all the entries are made here. So whatever related entries are there, we made it. And after having done that entries, we need to balance it. Okay. So how the balancing is done, this is what the subject of or topic of a study now. So how we are going to balance it? So we'll balance it this way. So there is opening balance. Now all the receipts and payments entries are made here. If this side is higher and this side is lesser relatively, then there will be a balance here. This is called by balance carried down. Okay. And this balance gets brought down to the next year to balance brought down. This balance will be brought down here. So from here, we bring the balance here, and from here we bring the balance here. Okay, so this is how the balance carried down and balance brought down we write here. And balancing, there may be a situation that this side, which is credit side, is higher than the debit side. Okay, credit side means payment side. So cash column cannot be higher. Payment cannot exceed the cash balance. It can be either nil, zero, or there would be some debit balance appearing in the cash book. But bank can have both debit balance or credit balance. All right. So let us say in this example, to balance carried down. Now there is no situation of balance carried down here in cash column, but there is possibility that there will be balance appearing here, which will be brought down here by balance brought down, which will appear here. So this balance which is brought down from here, this balance. I hope this part is clear. Okay. So that is why it is written here, cash book will always have debit balance. Bank column may have either debit or either debit or credit balance. Now credit balance means overdraft. We have drawn more money than we have had in our bank. That money amount is called overdraft. This facility is given to current account holder, means when a firm opens an account in the bank, it is named as current account of the firm. So in a scenario, if supposingly we do not have a balance in our bank, and if some expenses are to be met, then there is an overdraft granted. Overdraft means over the limit, over the cash that you have in your bank. If there is any payment which is to be made within the overdraft limit, the bank will honor the check. All right. So that is called overdraft facility given by bank to its customer. Usually in a business firm, such facility is given. Okay. If cash book and cash bank column is maintained, cash account and bank account are not opened in the ledger. So that is what we said, we discussed. So cash book itself is journal as well as ledger, or subsidiary books are journal as well as ledger both. Therefore will not be any cash account as such opened, but the entries which are made in the cash book, each of these entries will have a ledger account where the ledger will be, it will be entered in the ledger. I hope it is clear. Now, there are certain points to be noted. What are these points? I'll explain you. Now, if you see here, double column cash book, what are the observations? Certain observations which are appearing here. So it should be noted in respect of two column cash book. When new business is started, capital may be brought by honor in cash or check. That is the opening entry. What is the opening entry in that scenario when cash is brought in by the businessman to run the business as a capital? So journal entry we pass is cash account debit to capital. Okay. So this is the entry that we pass. So in our cash book, we will enter it. So we have two columns here, cash and bank. Here also two columns, cash and bank. Okay. So cash account debit side, we will enter this capital value. Let's say if it happens to be 1 lakh rupees, so we will enter this in cash book as 1 lakh rupees. I hope it is clear. So this is capital. Now supposingly if it is an existing business, then the opening entry. So this is what we discussed was a new business. Now if it is an existing business, then the entry will be cash account the cash book will show an opening balance. So we'll write here to balance brought down. This is the opening balance because it is a running business. All right. So this is the difference. If it happens to be the new business, then cash gets it opens up. So cash account debit to capital we write here 1 lakh, and if it happens to be a continuing business, old business, then we'll write here to balance brought down. Similarly in the bank column, there may be a possibility in bank column we may have a credit balance or buy balance brought down which may appear here. Is this clear? Now what is the next part of discussion? All receipts are written on the receipt side in the cash in cash column and bank in bank column. Check received and deposited the same day in the bank or the next day, what entries we require to pass. So cash in cash column, so we have seen all the receipts of cash or in cash column, by check in bank column. Now when there is a check received and deposited the same day, there is a meaning to it. When we are receiving a check and deposited the same day, that means the entry we pass is we directly enter it as bank debit to, let's say, Ram, who has given us the check. So Ram, how much? Let's say he has given us a check of rupees 10,000. So it directly gets entered in the bank column, debit side of bank column in the cash book. But supposingly, if the check is, this is only when deposited the same day, deposited on the same day. Now here, if it is not deposited in the same day, then a different entry is required to be passed, and the entry is check in hand. Okay, so it is going to be check in hand debit to Ram. I hope it is clear. Only difference, instead of bank we will write check in hand, and when we are depositing the check in the bank the next day, so bank account debit to check in hand. I hope this part is clear. So the debit which was made for check in hand gets cleared by crediting it, and there is ultimately bank account debit to Ram. This is the final entry that remains in the book. I hope this is clear. Then the third one, payments are made written on the payment side and cash payment and cash column and payments by check on the bank. So similarly in the above example, let us see, I'll bring it down here. So if it is payment is made on the credit side, it will appear on the credit side. Let us see, I'll pick this up and just a second. Anyway, I'll draw it here. So cash payment in cash payments are written. So there is a cash book. This is our cash book. So all the payments, this is our payment side and our, so we will write here, yes, payment side. So this is cash and this is bank. So payments will appear. Say for example, if the payment is made salary paid, so salary paid by check, it will appear here. Similarly, rent paid by check, it will appear here. So this is how it gets entered there. Now, contra entry, I discussed about it a bit, but let me again tell you. Contra entry means, let's say this is my cash book. I'll draw a 2 column just for your understanding sake. Okay, so this is our cash book. Now this is cash column, cash column, bank column, particular, and here also particular. Anyway, we will not make entries here. So cash deposited in bank, contra entry means where bank as well as cash gets involved. Supposingly, we are depositing cash in our bank. So what is the entry we pass for depositing cash in bank? Bank account debit to cash. This is the entry we pass, right? Bank account debit to cash. How it is to be posted here? We will not be passing this entry, but for understanding sake, bank account debit side, we will write to cash. There is a ledger folio here. There is a ledger folio here. Okay, this is our ledger folio and this is our ledger folio. So to cash, bank account debit to cash. So in the cash book, bank account debit side of the bank account, we have to write to cash amount in bank column. Let's say 10,000. I hope this is clear. So how it is to be read? Bank account is debited. Bank account is debited with cash rupees 10,000. Okay. On the debit side of cash book, we have written 10,000 in the bank column and debited credited cash. So bank account debit to cash. Similarly, if the payment is made in bank, so the payment is received, withdrawal is made for office use from bank. So entry we pass is cash is coming in the business, so we'll write cash debit to bank. Cash book we will write to bank and entry here. Okay, cash debit to bank, bank credit by cash. How much? The same amount. And here for this bank debit to cash, cash credit by bank. So I hope you have understood. So this is the contra entry. See, we write here contra entry. Okay, this is our contra entry. This does not, we will enter it where right here C to denote it is a contra entry. I hope it is clear. So bank account debit to cash, cash credit by bank, cash debit to bank, bank credit by cash. This is how we read it. Okay. Let us see the next one. Check deposited in bank if returned dishonored. So when we are depositing check in bank, what is the entry we pass? Bank account debit to, if supposingly check was kept on hold for a day and the next day it was deposited, so we write here to check in hand. Okay, now check was deposited in bank, this is the entry we have passed. In the cash book bank column debit side we will write to check in hand. Okay, now the check got dishonored, means that we did not receive the payment on the check. So the entry we need to pass for this is just the reverse. So check in hand, debit to bank. So the amount of debit we made, we will credit here. Amount of credit we made, we will debit here. This way it gets nullified. I hope it is clear. Now I'll take you to the next part. Check issued by the firm is not paid on presentation. Check issued by the firm is not paid on presentation means we have made payment to somebody, and when that somebody he deposited his check in his bank, the bank presented the check to our bank and we did not have money in it, or whatsoever be the reason, it was dishonored or not paid. So in that case, when we are making payment to somebody, so let's say creditor, debit to bank is the entry we pass, right, for making the payment. So we have made the payment. Now, this is what we call it as issued. But firm is not paid on presentation, but the check was dishonored. So what happens then? Then we have to reverse it, means bank account debit to creditor. I hope this is clear. Just we cancel this with whatever amount we debited it, we will credit it. Whatever we credited it, we will debit it. Is this clear? Check received may be given to another party. Endorsement of check. Endorsement means it is actually not used in the firm, does not pass through cash book, bank column or cash column. Why? Because when we are receiving the check, entry we pass is when we are endorsing the check. Let's say our creditor, we have a creditor. Now we will start as a debtor. So we have a debtor and there is a creditor. Debtor is the person from whom we have to receive money. Creditor is the person to whom we have to make payment. Is this clear? Now a debt, and we are the firm. Now debtor has given us check. There is a check given by him for the service or product we supplied to him on credit. So he gave us the check. Now we did not deposit this check or keep this check in our firm. What we did was we directly gave it to our creditor. So check which was drawn in the name of the firm endorsed it, means put a signature on it and endorsed it, and then it is given to creditor. So the entry in the book of the firm is to be made in this way: creditor debit to debtor. I hope this is clear. So there is no entry as such in the cash book, but it gets directly credited to debtor and debited to creditor. This is so taken from him and given it back to him. This process is called endorsement. I hope it is clear. Now comes the next one. Check or draft deposited by customers directly to the bank are entered in the bank column on the debit side. Okay. Now we are having some debtor, and the debtor, our debtor has, there is a firm, there is debtor, and firm has a bank account. Now, instead of making the payment by the debtor to the firm, this he did not do. What he did was he directly deposited into his bank. Many a times it happens. So this is the direct payment by the debtor to the bank. Okay. Now, and where the entry will be made. Now we came to know of it later. Payment was made by debtor to the bank. So entry we will make in our cash book, bank account debit to debtor. Means bank, on the debit side of cash book in the bank column we will write this amount and we will write credit debtor there. I hope this is clear. Direct payment by debtor to the bank. Now comes the next one. If the firm pay charges for services to the bank called bank charges. Now there is a bank charge. What is the entry that is passed for bank charges? So in the passbook or the bank, it debits our account, right? So bank debits for the charges, firm's account for charges. Okay, so charges are in a way payment for us. So in our cash book, we have cash column and bank column. So in the bank column, and this is cash column, so in the bank column with the charges amount, we'll write here bank charges and put up the amount in the bank column. I hope this is clear. This is how the entry is made for bank charges. Cash discount allowed or received. So what is the entry that we pass for cash discount allowed? So when we are giving, when discount is allowed or received are recorded by passing the journal entry. So when cash discount is allowed, discount will be allowed only when we are making payment. So creditor debit, discount will be first received, let's say received only when we are making payment. So creditors debit, we'll write it, creditor debit to bank and to discount. I hope this is clear. So creditor debit to bank to discount. So cash discount allowed, this is cash discount received, recorded by passing a journal entry. So creditor debit to bank and to discount. So let us say if it is 10,000 rupees and bank is 9,000 and 1,000 is discount. So creditor debit to discount will be entered in journal proper and creditor debit to bank will be entered in cash book. I hope this is clear. Discount may be allowed when the payment is received by check and if the check is dishonored. So we received some payment by check. So entry we pass for receiving the payment by check, bank account debit to debtor. Okay, so this is the entry we pass. So cash book, we will write it on the receipt side. Okay, so there are two columns here. One is for cash and another one is for bank. So bank debit to debtor when the payment is made by check. So bank account here to debtor. Let's say if it is 10,000, we'll write here. Now the same check got dishonored and we came to know of it. So what we will pass, how the entry is going to be passed? So we are going to credit it, right? So entry we will pass is debtor debit to bank and by debtor. So we will write it here 10,000. Got it? So B debit, bank debit to debtor, and when it did not get honored, then debtor again gets debited and bank gets credited. So this gets nullified. So cash book and bank column. I hope this part is clear. So we'll have a recap of what we discussed today. So let us see quickly. Fine. So we started with this discussion. I showed you this cash book and made you understand how is the structure of a cash book, right? So this is what we discussed briefly about the structure of the cash book. Fine. So this is, so I explained you the receipt side, the payment side, debit, credit, balancing, entries, contra entry. Roughly, I gave you an idea about it. Okay. Now we will take you to the, then we took it to treatment of discount allowed or received. How the entries are made here, I explained you. Treatment of discount allowed received when payments made or received through check and check gets dishonored. In case of a dishonor of a check, how the entry is to be made, I showed you. Then format for cash book. This is the format. So which we discussed how the detailed entries are made here. Then balancing of double column cash book. Now this is our double column cash book. How the balancing is to be done. We have seen the total side. If the credit side is higher in a bank call book, credit side and debit side is less, means more payment and less of receipts. So there is a balance appearing here, which is going to be a credit balance. Cash, again, more of receipts and less of payment, so balance is going to come here, and this is a debit balance. Cash book may have a nil balance but will never have credit balance, may have debit balance. Bank can have both credit or debit balance. That is what we discussed here. Then comes next. So double column, what are the points to be paid attention? So we have seen when new business started, how the entries are made. When it is an existing business, how entry is to be made. When receipts are receipt side of the cash book and payments are on the payment side of the cash book. When check is received and deposited the next day. So this is what we have seen. When check is received and deposited the next day. I hope this was clear. Now, payments are written on the payment side and cash payment in the cash column and payments by check in the bank column. We have already understood. Contra entry I explained you. Then I explained you what is dishonor and its implication in the cash book. Then I explained you check issued on and paid on not paid on presentation means in a way dishonored. Endorsement of a check I explained you. Directly payment made by our debtor to our bank I explained you. And then charges for services to the bank charges I have already explained you. And then the cash discount, what happens when there is a cash discount may be allowed when the payment is received by check. So whether it is a cash or check, it is called cash discount. Now discount is and if the check gets dishonored, how it is to be treated in the book, we need to reverse that entry. I hope this is clear. So anyway, it was indeed good talking to you. And precisely class 11 students, I have uploaded the significant number of topics there or content on your playlist. So my appeal to all the students, go through and get the help from here. As I said, we already have started our batches for 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, commerce and humanities. Any student who is willing to know anything further, any details, any inquiry that you would like to make, not necessarily that you have to join in. You can even academic assistance if you require. Call me on this number. I'll certainly be able to help you. So my appeal to every single viewer here, be it the parents if you are watching or students who are watching my channel or the video, if you have liked it, otherwise you can dislike it as well. Subscribe it so that any further content I'm developing and sharing on the YouTube, you get the notification for the same. Make your comment because your comment is of great value to me. So my appeal to all the students and parents who are watching this, do share your comment and share it to your neighbors, friends, anyone who you know happens to be a student, commerce student and studying in 11th standard. He can take the help from this. So thank you once again. Wonderful meeting you all as usual. And my heartfelt good wishes to every single student. Always be blessed, do well, structured preparation with which you should be carrying on your studies and finally reaching to the zenith of success. Thank you so very much. Wonderful talking to you all. And meet you in the next class with the subsequent part of the discussion.